Who are you gonna call? A 1, 2, 3, 4! I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Hey everyone, welcome to Mr. Teach Film Preach. And if you're a lover of Ghostbusters, a lover of films like I am, or if you learn from films as much as I do, then you are in the right place. And since you're in the right place, click like down below and subscribe to my channel. Also like this video. And while you're down there, comment. What did you guys think of Ghostbusters Afterlife? What did you guys think? Were you upset? Were you in love? Were you somewhere in between? Also, you can click up here for my 2021 playlist of the films I've reviewed so far this year. Today we are talking about the 2021 sequel follow-up. This is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Written and directed by Jason Reitman. This film is about this young girl who is connected to the original Ghostbusters somehow, related to them, and is come to move to this small town because her grandfather has left her mom this shady, sort of scary, creepy house. They move to this house and they find out that he's left this family legacy of the Ghostbusters behind for his young granddaughter. Unlike the original film, which is about a bunch of middle-aged men, this film actually switches our protagonist to a couple of children growing up in this small little tiny town. This town then begins to have these interesting, strange occurrences, and this young girl and her teacher are off and trying to figure out what is going on with this town. First of all, this film is so well crafted. Maybe that's because Jason Reitman, the director, is the son of Ivan Reitman, who was the original director of the Ghostbuster film. In fact, Ivan Reitman sat next to Jason pretty much the entire time while the making of this film. Most important thing I think that Ivan brought to the set was the feel of the original film, the tone, the vein that it lives in, while also helping his son Jason create and craft an interesting original story set within the Ghostbusters universe. It balances both being an homage, a continuation of the Ghostbusters from the first two films, while also still being its own original film, its own story, its own characters, while also seeing some familiar faces from the past, and this great blend of both nostalgia but also 21st century mixed into one film, and it is a fun ride. This is exactly the film that I wanted. I wanted something that was exciting, that was funny, that was cool, that was a little bit scientific, while also being slightly scary at parts, especially for kids, and also just having a great time at the theater. I didn't really have high expectations, to be fully honest. Believe it or not, as a film lover, I actually never saw the original Ghostbusters film until I was like 19, 20 years old. I know, what a travesty.
You're insane.
But when I did eventually see it, I thought, this is what everyone has always been talking about. It's the fact that they casted these likable, funny actors to play these parts, and the humor comes out through the characters reacting to the story. Same thing with Ghostbusters Afterlife. It inserts all these different characters from different aspects, whether it's the main character who is this nerdy, geeky girl, or the mom who's simply trying to survive and help her family and figure out what went on with her own father, who she's distant from. And also then there's a bunch of side characters like Podcast, hilarious character Podcast. Also, she involves her teacher, played by the most likable man on the planet, Paul Rudd. So I thought the characters in this film were so great and fun and hilarious and very fleshed out, just like with the original Ghostbusters film. The next thing was Jason Reitman is not known necessarily for big budget blockbuster films. He is a indie director, indie comedy director for like things with Thank You for Smoking, Juno, Young Adult, Tully. He's got a really interesting dark humor tone. So when he was announced that he was making this film, I was a little bit skeptical, like, I don't know if he can do this kind of thing. And I thought he handled it very well. This is probably one of his most well-made movies. technically, the way it looks, the way it feels, the way it sounds. I thought he did it in a very honorable and respectable way. Storyline's crafted well, it's interesting, it's really contained story about this family in this town. It's not this gigantic world event like it feels like in the first Ghostbuster film, because it's set in this big city of New York, but still exciting, still really awesome, and actually has one of the better chase scenes in a car that I've seen this year so far.
It has a gunner seat?
Grace Mckenna knocks this film out of the park. She is so great. I remember seeing her in Gifted with Chris Evans. I loved her then. And now seeing her in this, you can see, wow, she's a movie star in the making. But she carries the entire film on her shoulders. And for someone who's only 12, 13 years old, I thought she did a fantastic job. She is smart, funny, quirky, but also very relatable. And she carries the heart of this film. She has all the emotional moments of this film. This is probably the most heartfelt and emotional journey out of all of the Ghostbuster films that we've had so far. And I like that. I like that Jason Reitman put in a good dose of heart and creating a family film as well. You know, a lot of people grew up on these films. That's not the case with me. I noticed a few characters that they put in the film that were in the original, and I thought that was really cool, and they did, you know, had some quick cameos, and some people just think, oh, this is fan service. But this film was already good. This film has done a good job of building the story, the world, the characters, the humor, and then on top of the cake, they put the icing of adding in some nostalgia. It doesn't rely on the nostalgia, it doesn't rely on the fan service, it's just a nice little cherry on top of the cake. One of the things that I wasn't quite on par with was the CGI. At the time when Ghostbusters came out, the visual effects and the ghosts, they were well done at the time. Now, in the 21st century, they're still taking the feel and the tone and the look of the visual effects, and they're inserting it in 2021, and it looks a little strange and a little funny on screen. Not enough to take me out of the film, but enough that I made note of it. I mentioned earlier how Paul Rudd isn't the star of this film. Even though he's the promotional face of this film, he's really in the first part of the film, he's in the first half, and then at some point he's not in it anymore, and he's not in it for a while. I just wanted a little bit more of his character and his humor in the film, while still not taking away from the story of Grace Mckenna. After the big car chase scene and then leading up into the finale, there was a little bit of lagging that happened in the storytelling. I felt like it took about 10-15 minutes too long to really get into the main plot and story. Those are my only little nitpicky things. Otherwise, this movie was really shockingly good. And I actually, the entire time, I had a big smile on my face. I was laughing my ass off. Also, I was tearing up a little bit in certain parts, and I didn't expect that from a Ghostbusters film. I tip my hat towards Jason Reitman. He did a fantastic job. You could see how important this film was to him because he put a lot of heart, dedication, and hard work into crafting a really fun, entertaining film. I'm gonna go ahead and give Ghostbusters Afterlife an A-. What did you guys think of Ghostbusters Afterlife? Let me know with your comments down below, which is your favorite Ghostbusters film. Also, while you're down there, click that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. That would be wonderful. You can also check out my 2021 playlist of the films I reviewed so far this year. You can also check out Dune, Eternals. Thank you for joining me today on Mr. Teach Film Preach. Hope you guys had a great time. I know I did. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you on the next film. Stay focused, stay awesome, and as always, let's get taught.